Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my Endless Diary Tales channel? Thank you so much. Nathan lost a bet with his newly recognized honorary sister. The penalty was to be single for a month. So he handed me the divorce papers. Sign them. It's just a temporary separation for a month. Have some game spirit. I didn't say anything, dutifully writing my name. Not long after, Nathan lost again. This time, I have to spend a night with her. It's just sharing a bed. No intimacy, so don't overthink it. As he spoke, a small discreet box fell out of his pocket. He cleared his throat, made an excuse about company business, but actually headed to a hotel. Once he was out of sight, I looked down and replied to the message I had just received. I'm leaving the country in a week. Do you want to come? Yes. The next day, I started packing my luggage. Halfway through, Nathan, who hadn't come home all night, pushed the door open. There were suggestive red marks on his neck, and he yawned from lack of sleep. Going on a trip? I nodded guilty. Nathan didn't think anything was amiss. You should get out more too. Always holed up at home. You don't see anything. Unlike Chloe, who talks to me about everything under the sun. Chloe, his honorary sister, he met at a bar 6 months ago. The two were inseparable, obsessed with their betting game. The stakes had escalated from an initial drink and a meal to a hug and a kiss. I had cried and made scenes, but all I got in return was Nathan's disgusted look. It's just for fun. Why are you being so dramatic? Gradually, I stopped talking much. So now, hearing him criticize one to elevate another, I remained silent, quietly continuing to pack. After a while, Nathan asked, "When are you leaving?" "In 6 days. The next second, my body was suddenly airborne. I was picked up and thrown onto the bed, landing in his warm embrace. "Don't move. Just lie with me for a bit." I couldn't break free, forced to smell the unfamiliar perfume on him, and chaotic images automatically formed in my mind. Intimate moments wild-sorted as I thought. Tears began to stream down my face. Nathan frowned impatiently, symbolically patting my back a couple of times to soothe me. "Grace, only I can put up with you being so dramatic. Without me, you'd probably live worse than a stray dog on the street." He repeated words he must have said 1,000 times. Slowly falling asleep, I wiped away my tears and quietly slipped out. Looking at the face I had loved for 10 years, a fierce determination rose within me. Even if I lived worse than a dog, I wouldn't stay by his side anymore. As the time for my departure drew closer, I started to frequently dream of the past. The first time 8-year-old Nathan saw me, he was so engrossed that he fell flat on his face. A prominent scar was left on his forehead. Yet he was proud of it, and in front of everyone, he declared that he would be my only knight, protecting me for life. The child was true to his word, keeping his promises. The chubby kid from next door stole my candy, so Nathan cornered him in the alleyway after school and knocked out 2 of his teeth. A classmate deliberately spilled ink on my skirt, so he drew 99 ugly pictures of her and plastered them all over the school, scaring her so much she dared not attend. Back then, within 5 miles of Grace, Nathan was always there. We were inseparable and in love until our 2nd year of junior high. On a very ordinary day, my parents died in a plane crash. I became an orphan and was taken in by my uncle. I transferred schools, changed my residency, and moved thousands of miles to a distant southern state. In the unfamiliar environment, I started learning to go to school alone, eat alone, and be alone. My schedule was packed. Yet my heart always felt empty. The day I was diagnosed with depression, my uncle's blaming and bewildered gaze weighed down on me, making it hard to breathe. I stood beneath a 30-story building longing for the rooftop. As I withdrew my gaze, I actually saw Nathan. I thought it was a hallucination, but he truly walked up to me, his eyes shining with starlight. "Grace, I'm going crazy thinking about you." I broke down crying instantly. "Take me away. I don't want to stay in this place where clothes get moldy after a few days and cockroaches can't be killed." Nathan comforted me for a long time, then went to plead with my uncle. He knelt on the ground and swore, "I will take good care of Grace, accompany her through her studies, and get into our dream university together, or may I die a terrible death." Just like that, he brought me back. After graduating from college, he married me. At the wedding, he put a ring on my finger, crying like a child, and once again swore on his life that he would make me happy forever. But I opened my eyes. The other side of the double bed was empty and cold. Nathan hadn't been home for 5 days. The only way to know what he was up to was through his social media posts. In his latest update, his forehead was covered with medical gauze, as if he had just had surgery. Comments below asked what happened. He replied, "Chloe said that old scar was too ugly and affected my looks, so I had it removed." I froze instantly. The mark was gone and he would no longer protect me. I reassured myself that it didn't matter. I was leaving tomorrow. There was no need to dwell on it. But the pricking pain in my heart was impossible to ignore. After a long time, my phone suddenly chimed with an incoming message. "Come to the club immediately." The club was the city's largest entertainment venue. A diverse mix of people offering various forms of amusement where anything goes. It was also where Nathan and Chloe had met. I didn't like that place, so I put down my phone, trying to pretend I hadn't seen it. Unexpectedly, another message followed immediately. "If you're not here in an hour, you'll stay home for the rest of your life and never go anywhere." Nathan knew I was leaving tomorrow, which was why he threatened me like this. In the end, I had no choice but to grit my teeth and go, pushing open the door to the designated private room. A burst of cheers suddenly erupted from inside. 42 minutes. Nathan bet 30 minutes. So Nathan lost. Chloe wins. He's lost 18 times tonight already. Could be doing it on purpose. Nathan is so doting. Nathan glanced over at the door, a hint of excitement in his eyes, but he didn't acknowledge me. He turned, pulled Chloe from across the table, and passionately kissed her. An expensive wine on the table was knocked over, but neither of them noticed. When they finally parted, a thin silver thread stretched between their lips, lingering intimately. The surrounding cheers and catcalls almost blew the roof off. I suddenly felt sick to my stomach and wanted to leave. Just as I took a step, someone called out to me, "Grace, come here." I walked over, enduring the discomfort, and Nathan pulled me to sit on his lap. He pinched my cheek and lectured me. "That was just a game penalty. You're not allowed to be jealous. It's all your fault for coming so late. You made me lose the bet." I apologized out of habit. "I'm sorry." Someone nearby tissed, sighing. "Grace is so obedient. Nathan can do whatever he wants and she never complains. I want to find someone like that too." Nathan waved his hand indifferently. "Don't bother. Too obedient is boring. Then I'll find someone like Chloe. Fun and exciting. Sure, if you're not afraid of pain." He deliberately tilted his head, revealing fresh bite marks on his neck. This made Chloe, who was drinking, laugh and curse. "What are you putting on an act for? Didn't you tell me to be rough last night? You said it wasn't painful enough to be satisfying." Nathan ungraciously threw a banana at her. "You should practice your technique more." They bickered as if no one else was there, completely ignoring my presence. The stares of the onlookers watching the spectacle felt like knives piercing me, almost suffocating me. I clutched my clothes, quietly asking, "Can I go back? I'm a little tired." Nathan paused slightly, only then realizing I was still there. He rubbed his nose and casually called a waiter to escort me out, but disagreed. "Grace rarely comes out. Let's play a betting game." I instinctively wanted to refuse but accepted for me. "Sure. Are you scared?" Hearing this, Chloe quickly pulled out the dice, blocking my escape. The simplest game. Higher roll wins. The winner gets to ask for one item from the other. A slight gleam flickered in her eyes, making me feel uneasy. Nathan timely gripped my shoulder, reassuring me. "Don't be nervous. Chloe just likes bags and jewelry. If you lose, just pick something from your storage room and give it to her." I never cared for those things, so giving them away was fine. With a faint hope, I nodded in agreement. 2 dice rattled in the dice cup, then were slammed onto the table to stop after 10 seconds. Chloe said first. "I guess higher." I automatically chose lower. The result was, I lost. She immediately reached out, demanding, "Grace's necklace is quite pretty. I like it." I froze abruptly, gripping the pendant at my chest and stepping back. "Not this." Chloe's expression soured. "What's the deal? Are you such a poor sport? Don't you have any game spirit?" After her accusation, dozens of disdainful stares pierced me. I hurriedly explained, This is my mother's keepsake. I can't give it away. Choose something else. You can have millions worth of jewelry from home. My parents didn't leave me much and I lost quite a bit during several moves. Now I only have this one item left. I absolutely can't lose it. Chloe sneered. Why didn't you say no earlier? It's too late now. A bet is a bet. There's no changing your mind. If I like it, you have to give it to me. Otherwise, it breaks the rules and no one can play anymore. She was aggressive and wouldn't back down. I could only look to Nathan for help. He knew how important the necklace was to me. He would surely help me, but he said, Grace, take off the necklace. I stood dumbfounded, losing all my strength in an instant. Chloe, impatient, stepped forward to claim her prize. She tugged at my neck, leaving several scratches that bled. I stared at Nathan as if I felt no pain. He, however, was very indifferent, not thinking anything of it. You can always win it back anyway. Halfway through his sentence, there was a crisp sound on the floor. Oops, it slipped. How could this thing be so fragile? It shattered into 8 pieces. So ugly. So ugly. Chloe walked away, stepping on the fragments, not forgetting to give them a kick. The room was utterly silent, my limbs stiff. I went to pick up the pieces from the floor. The last piece fell by Nathan's foot. He tried to help, but I barked at him. Get away from me. Nathan was accustomed to being doted on, so now being talked back to, any lingering guilt he might have had vanished. His tone was icy. Grace, there's a limit to your stubbornness. I ignored him, carefully gathered the fragments into my handkerchief, put them away, and then turned to walk out. Behind me there was a loud crash as something was kicked over. The atmosphere was tense, and a peacemaker spoke up. Nathan, maybe you should comfort Grace. She looks really hurt. Nathan snorted indifferently. Forget her. I already divorced her. If she dies out there, it's nothing to me. I've been too good to her all these years. I've spoiled her. Made her think everyone has to cuddle her. And now she's being a sore loser. Spoiling everyone's fun. It's just a broken necklace from a dead person, isn't it? Is it really that big of a deal? She's completely lost it. If she wants to leave, let her go. Just wait. She has no parents, no friends. I'm her only savior. In less than 3 days she'll come crawling back, begging for my forgiveness. He said many cruel things, but I didn't look back once, nor did I shed a single tear. This time we were truly over. After returning, I put the necklace fragments into a small pouch and hung it around my neck again. Then I gazed at the empty room, feeling a sense of nothingness. It was as if everything was gone. After all these years, I hadn't managed to keep anything. I was truly useless. Once again, I couldn't help but wonder why I hadn't been on that plane. That way I could have been with Mom and Dad forever. I wouldn't have been taken in by Uncle, who only wanted the inheritance, nor brought back by the boy who would later change his heart. I wouldn't have to be like a piece of duckweed, ruthless and scorned. After some thought, I sent a message to that person. I won't be going tomorrow. Wishing you a safe journey. After that, I walked into the bathroom. Just before the bath water reached the tip of my nose, a cell phone ringtone forcefully cut through the silence. Urgent and loud. As if possessed, I struggled to sit up and answered the call. My waterlogged throat felt sore and swollen. I forced out his name, Ethan. Ethan was a poor student I had sponsored. After we graduated and got married, Nathan rejected all my job offers, saying society was dangerous, and he was afraid too much exposure would cause my depression to relapse. He said he could support me well enough and told me to stay home and enjoy life. For the first 2 years, I barely lifted a finger. It was both blissful and leisurely. I'd watch dramas and browse the internet. By chance, I stumbled upon a website filled with young, struggling but ambitious poor students. My heart ached for them, and since I wasn't short on money, I sponsored a dozen in one go. Later, I found out most of them were scammers. Only Ethan was different. He was the most unfortunate, without parents, working part-time since elementary school. He was also the most sincere, never asking for an extra penny, and would even return any surplus after he had enough to eat each month. He openly shared all his information with me, would report his daily life, and share the certificates and awards he received. Later, I witnessed Ethan get into a prestigious university and start his own company with partners. On the day he graduated from college, he was not only an outstanding graduate but also had achieved some success in his career. I felt proud of him but declined the invitation to attend the ceremony, unilaterally cutting off contact. Because my father once said, "Lend a hand when people are down but don't claim credit when they're up." It wasn't until 6 months ago that we met again at Sterling headquarters. He was there for a business meeting and I was visiting Nathan. The negotiation had just concluded. Nathan, furious about not getting the ideal percentage, angrily knocked over the lunch I brought, then stormed off. The soup I had spent 4 or 5 hours preparing stained the floor and the hem of my skirt. The atmosphere was so awkward that I didn't know what to do. Just then, a man in a suit walked over, knelt down and wiped me clean. "Grace, your husband has such a bad temper." Ethan looked up at me, his strong demeanor from the negotiation gone, like a docile wolf. That was our first in-person meeting. Later, due to business interactions, we met more often and resumed online contact. The day we walked out of the Civil Affairs Bureau, Nathan was eager to rush to the hotel. Ethan happened to send a message asking, "Grace, how have you been lately?" I told him, "Honestly, not very good. I'm divorced and I don't know where to go." He suggested, "You could go out and clear your head." But a bird kept in a greenhouse for too long, even when returned to the sky, wouldn't know where to fly. Ethan then said, "I'm going to Switzerland for a business trip in a week. The scenery there is beautiful. Do you want to come?" "Okay." The other end of the phone asked nervously, "Grace, do you have other plans?" I looked at the overflowing bathtub, speechless for a moment. "No, then why? Are you backing out?" "Because I'm a little tired. My own desolate life was too exhausting. I didn't want to struggle anymore." Ethan was silent for a long time. For a long while, there was only the sound of wind on the phone. I thought the call was ending and prepared to get up and go back to the bathroom. Unexpectedly, I heard him speak again. "Grace, let me take care of you. Then you won't have to be so tired." I was startled, suddenly losing the courage to leave alone. My fingertips trembled slightly, and I carefully uttered a single affirmative syllable. Ethan arrived very quickly. I don't know how fast he drove, but he reached downstairs before the call ended. He changed his flight and drove me straight to the airport. His actions were so swift, it was as if he had kidnapped me and was making a getaway. When I got on the plane, my hair wasn't even dry and I was still a bit dazed. He requested a blanket, draped it over my shoulders, ordered a hot drink and placed it in my hand. Then, as if by magic, he pulled a stack of magazines from his bag and placed them in front of me. "If you're bored, you can look through these. You used to study art, and these are some of the most authoritative domestic and international publications from recent years. You should find them interesting." His voice was gentle and accommodating. "I'll just take care of a few small things. Call me anytime if you need anything." Once I nodded, Ethan turned to his laptop and started working. The screen's light illuminated his refined face, and his slender fingers danced across the keyboard. Dressed impeccably, he looked exactly like an unapproachable elite from a TV drama. Yet, I inexplicably felt at ease. Sipping the drink in small sips, I felt my body gradually warm up. I opened a magazine, and the vibrant colors on the pages instantly filled my eyes, coloring a life that had previously only been black and white. The moon outside the window was bright, illuminating the sky. It seemed to illuminate me as well. After arriving in Bern, the capital of Switzerland, Ethan took me to a hotel. One suite, I slept in the master bedroom. He slept in the secondary bedroom. His purpose for coming was to inspect a partner's machinery factory, which involved a large future order for his company. So, the first week was especially busy. He would always be gone early in the morning, leaving only a greeting note and prepared breakfast on the table, as well as a daily updated travel guide. It detailed everything: what transportation to take, which nearby restaurant to eat at, and which attractions to visit at what time. He was like an invisible tour guide, unseen but omnipresent. Following the guide, I visited many places: art galleries, museums, clock towers, and rose gardens, taking photos, eating, enjoying the scenery, experiencing various performances, feeling wonderful and excited during the free time between transfers. Even the most ordinary streets were interesting. I could spend a long time looking at the uniquely designed streetlights. Like a country bumpkin who had never seen the world, I moved through the city. Yet I felt a sense of relaxation and freedom I had never experienced before. Nathan had never taken me on a distant trip. He always said I had a history of depression and needed less contact with the outside world to avoid overthinking. The old me lived in a confined world which felt utterly boring. But now I felt a little greedy for this world. Ethan and I would see each other for the second time of the day at dinner. After dinner, he would patiently listen as I shared what I had seen and heard, a gentle smile always on his lips. Then he'd turn into a praise machine. "Grace, have you ever considered photography? Your landscape photos are so beautiful. You're a knowledge expert." Today, as someone who knows nothing about art history, I've learned so much. Hearing this from someone 5 years younger than me, my cheeks burned and I couldn't help but stop him. "Hold on. Who taught you to praise people like that?" "I learned it from you, Grace." My heart skipped a beat. The gentle light in his eyes instantly pulled me back many years to when we first met. He was a poor student and I was his sponsor. First place again. That's incredible. You broke a record. You'll be amazing someday. Turned out that destiny circled back. The tree I had planted long ago would become the umbrella protecting me from wind and rain later on. While I was peaceful and calm, someone on the other side of the world was distraught. In the usual opulent private room, the atmosphere was extremely tense. Nathan, at the center of the storm, smoked one cigarette after another. His face was grim and terrifying, scaring everyone into silence because she was gone. 7 days had passed since their last unpleasant parting, and he hadn't received any pleas for reconciliation. He felt inexplicably panicked and couldn't resist going home to look for her, only to find she was long gone. All her usual belongings and documents were missing. He called her, but she had blocked him. All other contact methods also showed only red exclamation marks. This wasn't just going out to play. It was more like a complete breakup. Nathan didn't believe Grace would dare leave him. He had already ruined her by spoiling her. A caged bird with broken wings couldn't possibly leave its owner. But what if she did? The more he thought, the more annoyed he became. So he decided to stop thinking about it and gathered a group of people for a drinking session. But with alcohol in his system, the sense of unease burned even stronger. Something intangible had slipped from his control, making him very unhappy. Chloe arrived late, her black lace camisole revealing a large expanse of fair skin. She sat directly next to Nathan, skillfully pressing close to him, which made Nathan unhappy. "Tell your sister and she'll think of something," Chloe suggested. Nathan waved her off peremptorily. "Don't worry about it." But pretending to be clever, she guessed, "Is it because Grace ran?" I said, "Don't worry about it." Nathan suddenly raised his voice, interrupting her like a furious lion on the verge of attack. Chloe shivered involuntarily, her eyes gleaming with a wronged expression. But this time Nathan didn't comfort her. Instead, he just drank by himself, coldly stating, "If you keep spoiling the mood, get out." Chloe smartly shut up, proactively pouring him a drink as an apology. As brazen as she was merely an appendage living by a man's whims. When no longer allowed to absorb nutrients, she would wither as quickly as a flower. That day, Nathan drank himself into a stupor and was helped home. Lying on the cold, large bed, he called out miserably, "Wife, get me a glass of water." But the only answer he received was endless silence. On the 8th day in Bern, I woke up as usual. I was ready to check today's travel guide as if opening a mystery box. But I found the paper was blank. I finished breakfast still puzzled just as the door opened. Ethan hadn't gone to work. He walked in carrying a huge package. "Good morning, Grace." He greeted me like an energetic puppy, and I smiled back, though my eyes were fixed on the package. "What is that?" Ethan told me to open it. After some unpacking, its true form was revealed. It was a complete set of easel, canvas, brushes, and paints. I had someone customize it. I rushed them several times. They probably got annoyed with me. "Do you like it, Grace?" I touched the lower corner of the drawing board where my initials were engraved. My throat felt clogged with cement, so I couldn't speak, so I just nodded frantically. I loved it. I loved it very much. It had been so long since I had touched these things. Back when Nathan kept me at home, I didn't have to do anything. Painting, which I had pursued for nearly 10 years, became my only pleasure. I photographed my works and posted them online, receiving many likes and compliments. Before long, my followers surpassed 10,000. Some even messaged me privately asking if I would take commissions. I didn't care about the money. It just felt very fulfilling to be liked and needed. So I did it until I was found out. That time the client happened to be a male. He flew into a rage. "Grace, I feed you well and provide for you. Is it so you can go cheating on me?" I frantically explained that I hadn't, but he just wouldn't believe me. He made such a scene, not coming home for days and nights until everyone thought I was ungrateful. Finally, I had to give in. I deleted my account and stopped taking commissions. Nathan, uneasy, threw away everything related to painting, then hugged me and kissed me gently. "Grace, you have me, and that's enough. Those things aren't important." At that time, I nodded in agreement as if I had lost my mind. But now the burning warmth in my heart told me otherwise. Passion was also very important. It wasn't worth giving up for anything else. The weather was beautiful that day, bright and sunny, so I chose a park near the hotel as my sketching location. Ethan helped me carry the equipment over and set it up. Standing with his arms crossed, his eyes curved into a smile as he looked at me. "I can't wait to see your talent, Grace." I shyly gripped the paintbrush. "I'm afraid I'm out of practice. I might paint something truly awful." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "Then I'll defy gods and men and be your #1 fan." "Grace," he said it with sincerity and conviction. My breathing hitched. The sun shone on him, his short dark hair blowing in the wind. I would probably never forget this morning and this man standing before me. Ethan still had work today and couldn't stay with me. After expressing his regret, he left, looking back several times. I took a deep breath, appreciating the beauty of nature, then immersed myself in my own world. Time flew by and soon it was noon. I hadn't noticed at all. It was only when Ethan called to remind me to eat that I realized. As soon as I returned to the hotel, my phone rang again. Thinking it was Ethan, I answered it without thinking, but I miscalculated. I heard the voice I least wanted to hear, Grace. Nathan didn't know whose phone number he used to call me. "Can I help you?" Now facing him, my heart wouldn't ache. I wouldn't shrink back, nor would I feel any ripple of emotion. My tone was calm, no different than if I were speaking to a stranger. There was a clear pause on the other end. After a long moment, he spoke again. "Where are you? Send me your address. I'll come pick you up." I was very puzzled. "Why are you picking me up?" Nathan's voice was unusually soft, coaxing me slowly. "Grace, I know you're angry, but it's been so many days. You should cool down by now. Besides, you can't do anything. You can't even take care of yourself. Staying out there for too long will only cause trouble for society. And if you get sick or hurt, I'll be the one whose heart aches. At worst, when you come back, we can work together to find an identical necklace. After all, objects are dead, people are living, and we still have a life to live." I calmly reminded him. "Nathan, I'm not coming back. We're already divorced." Nathan, seeing that I was unyielding, gradually grew impatient. "That was just a game. A month is almost over. We can go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to remarry soon. How simple are the game rules? Can't you understand?" I couldn't understand his thought process. Why? He always expected me to swallow my pride and conform to their self-righteous rules. And now I no longer wanted to understand, but only you were playing. I was always serious. Divorce means divorce. Don't contact me again. We're nothing to each other. Hanging up the phone, I breathed a sigh of relief. This was like putting an end to the past. I was going to start a new life. On the 12th day, Ethan, who had been working long hours, finally finished his work early. The trip became a journey for two. We went skiing in the Alps, soaring down from the heights like free birds during the day, and relaxing in a wine bar, tasting wine and listening to music at night. We hiked Jungfrau, personally measuring the height of the world with our steps, laughing and cheering at the summit, marveling that life should be this way. We strolled through the old town streets, slowly appreciating the beauty tempered by time, then took photos together at breathtaking spots. Along the way, we saw with our eyes, recorded with a camera, and painted on canvas. At our final destination, the hotel room's living area was already filled with paintings. I pondered what to do with them. There was no way I could take them all back home. Ethan suddenly said, "You could sell them to people who love them." I hesitated a little. Even though Ethan had praised these paintings to the sky, I simply thought his perspective was too biased as someone close to me. I had little confidence that strangers would appreciate them, but in the end I decided to give it a try. We framed the paintings and set up a stall in an open area. Unexpectedly, we received a lot of attention. Children liked simple, lively animal portraits, while adults preferred atmospheric landscapes. Before sunset, over a dozen paintings had found new homes. Counting the money in my hand, I couldn't stop feeling happy. So much money earned by myself. Ethan, who had been busy all day, looked at me with sparkling eyes. "Grace, you've become a rich woman. Your little brother is hungry." I grandly waved my hand and bought hot dogs fresh from the street vendor. "Here, eat up." Grace was no freeloader. I could support myself and I could take care of others. After eating our fill, we lay on the grass, watching the starry sky, counting stars, bringing an end to our trip. Suddenly, a shooting star streaked across the sky, and I pulled Ethan to make a wish. When I opened my eyes again, I found him staring at me intently. The emotions in his eyes shimmered brightly under the moonlight. I unnaturally looked away. "Why are you looking at me?" "Look at the shooting star." "A shooting star can't grant my wish." "Only you can, Grace." I laughed awkwardly. "Nonsense. I don't have that kind of power." "You do, Grace." That year in senior high, all the spots for poor students were taken by those who weren't in need. I was so hungry I couldn't afford food. And desperate, I filled out my information on a website that required no qualifications. I prayed someone would see me, would help me. Not a lot, just enough to fill my stomach. Soon my wish came true. An older sister sponsored me. She was so kind. Not only did she give me money, but she also cared for me, praised me when I won awards, and encouraged me when I faced setbacks in my business. "Grace, I lost my parents early and didn't have many friends at school. I've come to see you as family." Ethan spoke slowly and calmly, as if saying words he had kept in his heart for many years and rehearsed countless times. But I couldn't be as composed as him, breaking down into uncontrollable sobs. "I was so awful. I actually cut off contact with you." How sad he must have been to be abandoned by the family he held in his heart. Ethan gently wiped away my tears. "It was truly hard back then. I thought I wasn't strong enough, not worthy of being chosen by you. So I turned my sorrow into motivation, worked desperately on my career, and came back to you." "Grace, what a huge misunderstanding." I frantically shook my head, explaining, "I didn't think that way. I just felt I couldn't help you anymore and didn't want to bother you. It's all my fault. My fault for being too clever for my own good." Hearing my apology, Ethan hugged me, his heart aching. "You did nothing wrong, Grace. You're just too kind." After a long while, I finally calmed my emotions. Sitting up straight, I declared, "Tell me, what's your wish? This time I'll definitely make it happen for you." Ethan's gaze was fervent and he blurted out, "I want to be on the same household registration with you, Grace." I was fully prepared, ready to go through hell and high water to help him achieve it. But my preparations weren't enough. I never expected such an answer. My mind jammed for a moment, unable to process it. How could two adults be on the same household registration? It was so hard to guess. I looked at him unsure. Ethan, however, at some point had changed from sitting on the ground to kneeling on one knee. From somewhere, he pulled out a large glittering stone. "Grace, I love you. Marry me." To be honest, it was a bit sudden. After all, I had just ended a terrible marriage, but I wasn't Nathan, and I wasn't the weak and incompetent Grace I once was. This trip allowed me to find myself and gain the ability to save myself. Even if the future wasn't ideal, I wouldn't wallow in self-pity. I would just continue to live my life with effort. There was still so much beauty in this world waiting for me to explore. So I asked my heart. I realized I also loved Ethan. So I fearlessly extended my left hand. "Ethan, be my family." After returning to the country, I moved into Ethan's luxury apartment. He said the place he used to live was just a house. It only became a home when I arrived. I couldn't quite describe the feeling, but it was probably happiness. After settling into a stable living situation, I reopened my account. I published the paintings I had done during my trip to Switzerland. Soon I received likes and followers. What was surprising was a comment in the comment section. "That art style looks familiar. Are you Miss Grace who suddenly deleted her account many years ago?" That was my former online handle derived from Rising Gracefully.